What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got Gervonta Tank Davis back in the news. It is rumored that he will be fighting Frank Martin on March 30th as the first Amazon Prime pay-per-view event. All right, I want to talk about this. I want to see what they got going on. Let's get into this, and of course, I'm gonna give you my insight. All right, so let's go ahead and do the research. All right, so shout out to Boxing News 24, just 24, sorry, Boxing News 24. It says, Tank on prime time, Davis versus Martin looms as first Amazon boxing pay-per-view event. Superstar Gervonta Tank Davis is rumored to be fighting on Amazon Prime Video pay-per-view on March 30th, with unbeaten lightweight contender Frank the Ghost Martin being discussed as a potential opponent. Davis versus Martin has recently been discussed on social media and it's a fight. If it happens, the contest will create much interest amongst the boxing fans. Martin drops hints. The Ghost Martin got people amped up on Instagram last week saying, I'm taking it to the ceiling with the next one. Fans saw this post and hint from the number 3 WBA Martin that he could face Tank Davis for his WBA regular title next. Actually, I guess they didn't get the memo, but Tank is now elevated to the Super WBA champion. Since Devin Haney relinquished his titles and the WBA wants to consolidate their titles or whatnot. Tank must fight a notable opponent for his March 30th fight because he can't use a retread like Pitbull or Ryan if he expects fans to purchase his fight on pay-per-view. Amazon's big bet, it says Amazon signed a multi-year deal with PBC, choosing to broadcast the events to replace Showtime for that company. PBC has pressure on them to put on good cards and attract the interest and ensure Amazon continues to keep them when their contract is up. Using Tank as the first event to their new deal with Amazon is a smart move by PBC, but only if they get good names like Martin to be used as his opponent. Martin, who has the record of 18-0 with 12 knockouts, makes more sense for Gervonta's opponent on March 30th than a needless rematch with Isak Pitbull Cruz. What have I been saying? That rematch is pointless. It's not even a rematch that needs to be had. That fight would likely bomb badly on Amazon Prime pay-per-view. The two Ferraris is a throwaway line about if I come there, do I get a big payday? Of course, you'd get a big payday, said Gareth A. Davis to Boxing. Davies to Boxing Social about Gervonta Davis asking for 2 Ferraris from the Saudis to come to their country for a fight. He's one of the young stars in America. At the moment, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, slightly less so. Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, they're all claiming to be the face of boxing in America, aren't they? You can't put them in with you can put them in with Terrence Crawford as well. Those guys are probably the face of boxing in America, and Shakur Stevenson. Those 4 or 5 in America, they're all claiming to be. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see those big fights: Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, and Shakur Stevenson. So, all right, let's go ahead and talk about it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this for a second. First and foremost, let me say I won't complain about this. If this fight is true, I can't complain, because what is my number one complaint been with Tank Davis? Well, my complaint has been Tank Davis has not fought any black competition. All right, he only fights a certain type of opponents or whatnot. Well, with him fighting Frank Martin, bro, I mean, I don't have an issue with that at all. Actually, I think that's a good fight. I think that's a good opponent. I think that Frank Martin is a good opponent, bro. Frank Martin proved himself against the Michelle Rivera fight. He didn't look as dominant as he did with Michelle Rivera in his last fight, but he still got the victory. So I'm not mad at this fight, bro. I actually think this is a good fight that I really want to see. I would love to see. I kind of wish it wasn't on pay-per-view. I feel like they're trying to force Tank to be a pay-per-view star. I just don't think this is a pay-per-view fight. I feel like they've forgotten that it takes 2 to make a pay-per-view event. But I'm still, I'm still happy with this fight. I think that this is a great fight. You have two southpaws coming. Frank Martin is a strong fighter. Tank Davis is a strong fighter. Tank Davis is obviously more proven than Frank Martin is, but I still think that I think this is a good fight, bro. I'm not mad at this at all, bro. So I want to take my hat off to Tank Davis. If this is true, I don't want to give it too much energy right now because again, we don't know if this is true or not. But it seems to be headed that way, bro. So hopefully this is true. I just hope that this is the truth. I hope that we can get this fight because the PBC has a statement to make. They made a statement last year. I will say that I do feel like the PBC made a statement last year. They put on if you want to talk about the biggest events in 2023 was put on by the PBC. You had Ryan Garcia. Well, they started off with Caleb Plant versus Benavidez. You had Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. You had Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. You had Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade. So they had very big events. It was a good year for boxing. And even outside of them with Devin Haney versus Lomachenko, and then we got Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis, to top that off. Like man, last year was a good year for boxing. But as far as the PBC goes, I think the PBC definitely put on the biggest events last year. And they're gonna have to, they have to prove their point with Amazon, bro. And I feel like Tank Davis versus Frank Martin is a good way to start off their year. Now it's rumored that they only have 14 fights, but the first fights is supposed to be like in March. They're starting in March because at first I was thinking, well, 14 fights. If they start in January, that means it'll be one fight a month with 2 months having 2 fights or whatnot. But it looks like they're starting in March. So if they start in March, I got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. That's 10 months. So it'll be 10 months of boxing. If you average it out, that averages out to be at least one fight per month, and then with 4 months, it'll have 2 fights. We'll have 2 cards on there. I hope that. Hopefully that they'll all be, they'll make it to where they're all excited. I feel like especially to start them off, to convince them to want to keep Amazon or to keep their deal going with Amazon, they need to put on some good fights this year. Tank Davis versus Frank Martin is a good start. We can get, let's get, Benavidez. Well, obviously Canelo's with the PBC right now, so it's rumored that he's gonna fight either Jamal Charlo or Hamid Magia. Don't get it twisted. Those are going to be big events. Those are just unfortunately those are not the fights that we really want to see with Canelo. But those are still going to be big events. You got let's bring up Caleb Plant. We got David Benavidez. Let's bring back Errol Spence. I don't know what Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford got going on. I don't think that rematch is going to happen. Not that we really need it. But Errol Spence. I don't know where Jerron Ennis is. I don't know if he signed a deal with the PBC, but let's see what he got going on. If he is with the PBC, it's just many fights. Keith Thurman. It's just many fights to be made, bro. It's many fighters. That's with the PBC that we want to see. So and with 14 dates, man, with 14 slots, that means that we should get some really good undercards as well, not just main events. But it looks like we'll have fights that have pretty stacked undercards as well. I've been pushing for Gary Antoine Russell. I feel like they need to push him out more. So let's make these fights happen, man. I'm excited to see what's going on, what the PBC will do with Amazon. They don't need to drop the ball on this at all. So we'll see how that goes, man. But as far as going back to the initial topic, man, Tank Davis, I definitely I want Tank to step it up, man. As far as like the competition this year, I would dream and love to see Tank Davis versus Devin Haney. That's the number one fight that I want right now. Number 2 would be Canelo versus David Benavidez. You know, and number 3 is whatever. It's rumored that Terrence Crawford is actually thinking about fighting Tim Tszyu. That's a great fight, bro. I mean, bro, we got potential. We got a potential to have another spectacular year for the PBC if they choose to do everything correctly. All right, let me know what you guys think. What big fights do you want to see from PBC? Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?